All right, we will eat open session. Let's start with a roll call. Rita Martin is here. Delana Martin,
Here.
Crystal Craven,
Here.
Kathy Bodecker, here. Diana Corporal, here. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item number 4, closed session reports. Item A, Gov Code 54957, direction was given to initiate an investigation into the complaint. Item B, Gov Code 54957.6, closed session regarding matters of negotiation with CSEA and unrepresented groups with designated representative, Superintendent Pendle, no report. And we did not get to items C, D, and E, so we will reconvene to close session to complete those items after today's meeting because we didn't want to leave you out there in the swelteringness for too much longer. Item number 5, approval of the agenda.
I would like to request that items A and B under new business be moved to follow item D
And D
of new business.
as in dogs, that we said.
D is in dog, yes. Or Delta, David, coming on. Either.
You said A and B?
A and B, yes. I'd like them moved under the unaudited actuals in the Ganlin resolution.
And on K for the weekly meeting, I thought that would be an action based on the discussion. Are we able to change that from information to an action item?
Emily and I had talked about that. We didn't think that it needed to be an action item to approve us meeting with her individually. It was just going to be the conversation of each person's.
But if we come
Comfort
to a
level.
collaborative agreement on something, wouldn't we need to approve that together?
And I don't think we as the board can make a decision that says one board member can or cannot talk to the superintendent.
Oh, no, I just meant like a collaborative, I guess, agreement on how we're having communication, like because of the concerns that were brought up.
Yeah, I don't see why it can't be if there's action to be taken when we get there.
Right, that's what I meant is if
Okay.
it turns into information only, then fine, but if we're saying it's information only, then we can't take action, correct?
Correct.
So it's safer to make that an action item. And if no action needed, then no action is needed.
Okay.
Okay. So I wasn't sure if you wanted that on up either. Because that was. And
Oh, information? I mean, I would hope there will be action taken on it, so. Maybe it's information.
okay. Yeah, those are the only ones that I was like, oh, I thought action might need to be taken.
Somebody want to put those together in a motion to approve the agenda with those changes?
I make a motion that we move A and B under D and we make K an action item. K, please.
All right, is there a second?
I second that.
Motion by Diana and second by Crystal to move items A and B under item D under new business and make K an action item. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Moving on to item 6, public comment on non-agenda items. Members of the public are invited to address the governing board on any matter within its jurisdiction that is not listed on the meeting agenda. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person with a maximum of 20 minutes per topic. The time cannot be transferred from one speaker to another. Please be advised that a school board meeting is a business meeting held in public and not a public meeting. So forth, the board is legally prohibited from discussing items that are not posted on the agenda and cannot respond to public comments made during this session. That said, is there any public comment on non-agenda items for this evening? Seeing none. Comments on agenda items. Members of the public are welcome to comment on any business item that is listed on this evening's agenda. Again, comments limited to 3 minutes per person with a maximum of 20 minutes per topic, and the time cannot be transferred from one speaker to another. Public comments will be permitted during the board's consideration of that specific item. While the board appreciates and welcomes your comments and questions, we are not at liberty to respond during the meeting. All comments will be taken into consideration during the discussion of that item. Number 8, consent calendar. All matters listed on the consent calendar are to be considered routine and without opposition. The consent calendar will be enacted by one motion. No separate discussion of these items unless a board member or superintendent requests a specific item be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any items so removed will be considered after the motion to approve the consent calendar. This evening's consent calendar has item A, minutes from the August 26th and August 18th meetings, bills, warrants, transfers, resignation, and a new hire stipend.
I have a question on the August 26th meeting. The agenda stated under number 11, new business, that the verification of requirements, it says the board will review and verify all necessary requirements have been met for the issuance of a short-term staff permit for high school physical education. But in our minutes, it's Miss Millen. Is she going to be doing this special education?
No, during the board meeting, there was a change to the agenda.
Okay, because I wrote next month, but I didn't. Okay.
Yes, so
thank
that's
you.
what it was. So we changed the agenda. I got a little ahead of myself with Mr. Bloom doing.
Now I remember you saying that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Because I'm reading that, I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't making sense. So
Yeah.
I thought, well, maybe she's a kindergarten teacher. She's going to be a PE teacher
I
too.
mean, she'd be a great PE teacher.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
So, did you have a public? Yes. Question? Oh, sure.
This on the consent calendar, the new hires of athletic director, and actually later on the administrative positions, were those posted yet during or advertised? Was there an advertisement of those positions? Because I know I didn't see it on it, John, but
I think we'll speak to the executive assistant when we get there. Can you speak to the athletic director?
It was filled
Yeah.
in-house by a certificated employee.
but it was posted. So all in-house, you know that.
It was filled in-house with our certificated employees.
It's not answering my question, that's okay.
I have a question on bills, of course. On page 1 of this little report here. Pardon me? Yeah, board report. We have a 12,287 cost for clinician billing. What is that?
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that too.
That has to do with the services that are received by students. special ed services that are received by students
Okay,
last year.
okay. And then, the actual retirement consultation of 550. It's the district one. It's right here. But it says, GASB 75 disclosure report fiscal year end 2025, but
Right,
it's $550.
right. So every year it's a government accounting standards board, basically. You have to go through an actuarial to actually go to see how much it would cost if you had to pay for retirees. If all those employees you currently have would retire, what would the cost be to the district in future years? So you have to either do like a full-on study or in between do this other study that's kind of a rollover. So this is the rollover, which is only 550.
Which is much.
Full-on study is like 2,000 to 3,000.
Okay.
So every other year it's higher.
And then I have a question on page 2 on the SSDA Superintendent Conference of 778.40. Was that only for mileage or was that for the cost of the conference as well?
Have to research that. It just says mileage.
Mm-hmm. That's 1,112 miles.
Where was the conference at?
I assume that was the Newport Beach one. So way down there.
You drove?
Oh, in Southern
Instead of
California?
you? Would have been half that to fly.
Mm. Well, not with a rental car, actually, because I'm hoping to find. What's it done? I go with the least expensive options for this trip.
And then the next one I have is down further for the U-Haul and Starbird dinner. What is that for 384.77?
I would have full, not actual, but that's on the Cal card where it says US Bank.
To me, it's just kind of odd seeing U-Haul on there.
Oh, that was for boxes and moving blankets and things like that for doing our library and for revamping our conference room plus the makerspace tables.
Did you say boxes and blankets?
Yeah, moving blankets, and boxes.
Wh- Why did we need those two? Were we moving furniture? I mean, is this
Yes.
to store them? Or
No,
what?
I moved furniture, yeah.
So you bought that to store it at the district or the blankets?
Blankets, for moving blankets to wrap around furniture to protect it during moving. And then boxes for our library.
I guess I'm
Sort of
not
packing
understanding.
up our
Where were we
library.
moving them to? We just go in the district
No,
or?
to the district from the Bay Area.
Oh,
Yeah, we went down and picked up some tables and chairs and things for the conference room and for the makerspace at the high school.
for the what?
Makerspace at the high school for vocational program for our high school students.
Thank you. And then I'm assuming the courtyard by Marriott and then the Humboldt Redwood State Park, was that for the senior trip? Didn't they go over there?
I'm not sure what the courtyard by Marriott is specifically. The Humboldt Redwood State Park was Native American books for our Native American book
Ah,
collection.
got it. Okay.
Any other comments, questions for Councilman Otto? Not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
We'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Second. Motion by Diana and second by Kathy to approve the consent calendar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, reports, the student report.
Good evening. On September 10th, the FA had their very first FA meeting. We discussed upcoming events like opening and closing ceremonies, contests, and
There's some, it's a 4th or 5th grade teacher that I follow on Instagram. And she just shares all of her funny jokes. So I tell the kids and then you tell Mr. Blue and he rates my jokes. So he takes care of it also.
Okay, we're back.
You missed my joke?
Just the what?
Okay, I had to come back. Yes, when I can't sleep, I will go rewatch that again. Okay. Board member reports.
Well, I would like to say that I went down to the, is it Amani or Armani?
Amani.
Amani choir, and it was pretty cool. I could have probably sat there for the entire time just listening to the drums.
Mhm.
It was amazing, and yeah, it was good. I think the kids enjoyed it, and I'd never been around Mr. Bloom. He's quite the character, and I think the kids really like him a lot.
Mhm.
I mean, I think it was a real good interaction between him and because he was sitting right in front of us. So, but it was pretty cool.
Our live followers said you went offline. So there are people watching. Okay. Any other board member reports?
Next month, October will be, our, dance throughout the month, dances all over. So that's exciting.
Lots of traveling and
Lots of
tired
traveling,
kids.
yes.
What is that, Delaney? I missed.
It's, every weekend in October. So it'll be the dances.
Every weekend.
Yeah. It won't be just here, but it'll be in Lakeport.
Right.
Elam, Tulsa.
I was able to attend back to school night. I thought it was great, very well attended, lots of community support and families and tables that I thought were a big hit with everybody. I also was able to attend the children's choir performance. It was neat. I've never seen anything like that. And I also participated just on the Farm Bureau side. I helped out with the farm day that the kids do for all the 4th graders. And we had our 4th grade class as well as our FFA students there representing. And they all, FFA students especially, they all had on their matching shirts and they just looked like a really nice group of students. Lots of good compliments of how our little ones and our high school students were able to be a part of that and volunteer their time. So it's good to see them outside of school, still representing.
Okay, I really like back to school night too. And the lemonade was the best lemonade I think I've ever had.
I stalled. They sold out before I got there. Good. Okay, CBO.
I have nothing to report.
He's got a whole bunch later.
Okay. Superintendent principal.
Okay, well, I have enough to cover both. So, okay. So, our current enrollment is at 52. We ended the 24-25 school year at 61. I reported previously, but at the beginning of the school year, things kind of have to even out of our kids leaving. Are they actually going? Are they coming back? And we've had quite a bit of movement. So as of today, we're at 52. It may change some more. In fact, I think we're getting a couple more kids this week, but 52. Again, as a reminder, over the summer, we had 3 students graduate, 14 moved away, 4 transferred out. But since the start of this school year, the 25-26 school year, we've added 2 TKers. We have 4 students that previously transferred out came back to us. So I'm really excited about those 4. And 7 new students. 5 of those 7 are inter-district transfers in to our district from another district. So they are choosing us over a different district. So that's really exciting, right? Moving that needle. And the most exciting announcement of the day, our district-wide attendance, TK through 12th grade, we are at 96% attendance.
Wow.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Great. That is huge for our district and, you know, our families are doing the work. Yes, I should come over there and pat you on the back. Because they're getting their kids up and around and making sure they get to school and they are supporting our teachers and our staff and spreading the message to our kids that school's important and we need you in the classroom so we can teach you all the good things and that school's fun, right? It's a good place to be. And so 96% that's amazing. It's exciting. So good stuff. Coming up, I'm working with Kyle Bill on some cultural awareness training for the board that was requested at a previous meeting. So cost breakdown for that for the session, 2 to 3 hours, we're looking at about $1,350 for that. I would highly recommend it. Kyle and his team are absolutely amazing. And with the understanding that 70% of our student population is Native American, this is information that is important for all of us. And it just, Kyle's just great at presenting it. So thank you, Kyle. So I highly recommend.
Do you have prospective dates yet or when we might be looking at this?
Not yet. We're getting there.
And what fund would that get? paid?
Well, $1,350, we could pull that from educator effectiveness. There's,
A discretionary block grant.
yeah. So we've got.
So it
Okay,
could come out
so
of
we
general.
have funds that could cover that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's good stuff. And then recent events within the district, we had our back to school night. It was a huge success. I had a hard time imagining this year's back to school night being better than last year's back to school night. Remember when I started here, we didn't have a back to school night the first year. All the staff told me, don't bother, nobody comes. So we didn't. But then the next year we had back to school night, huge turnout, right? And then this year we served over 240 hot dogs, 100 knick-knack lemonades. They would have served more, but they ran out, as Rita said. So many families came together. I love the community partners coming in and tabling, providing resources for our families. And I think the Elk Creek t-shirts are pretty sweet. And I love seeing them out and around the community, showing that our school spirit, it's growing. So it's exciting. And then we had a Goodies with Grands event for our grandparents. It was very well received. Grandparents joined our students for breakfast in the cafeteria. They took photos with our backdrop, and some grandparents even went to the classrooms with their kids. That was really sweet to see. Families expressed a strong interest in seeing more of these types of events throughout the year. And I had a lot of grandparents say, I couldn't make it. Can we do another one? So we'll have another Goodies with Grands this year for those of you that weren't able to make it that time. So I like the alliterations, Goodies with Grands. If you have any ideas, let me know, because I've got like muffins with mom. I need something for aunties. So if you have any ideas for aunties, please let me know. There you go. See, I love it.
Okay.
And tea party. And party.
Yeah, see.
Yeah.
So just those types of events really bring everybody together and it's a lot of fun. And then as Rita spoke about Farm Day, Miss Vote's class attended Farm Day and our FFA group volunteered. It went really well. I heard a lot of positive feedback about our students out in the community and how well that they were representing Elk Creek. So good stuff. And then our middle school volleyball team has been playing home games and away games. They're actively competing. They're learning teamwork and they're building school pride at the same time. It's great. The Amani Children's Choir visited us all the way from Uganda. I think a lot of you were there. And the students were absolutely enthralled by the performance. It's PG&E calling me. They were enthralled by the performance. Even the high schoolers shared that they were unsure at first. Do we have to come to this? And then afterwards, they totally loved it. And they especially loved seeing Mr. Bloom and Miss Lewis dance on the stage. They were good sports. And some of our kids even got to play the drums. So it was enjoyable. upcoming events. Are you ready? So on September 30th, our Chico State is going to visit our high schoolers at Elk Creek High and talk about Chico State life and what it's like to be a college student and about applications and types of programs that they offer at Chico State. October 2nd, our middle school volleyball team is playing at Providence at 1 p.m. On October 8th, our high school is taking a trip down to Princeton High School for their college day. On October 10th, we have a middle school volleyball home game at 1 o'clock in our gym at Elk Creek High. On October,
What date was that again? Sorry.
the 10th. On October 14th, our ninth graders are heading to the FFA Green Hand Conference. On the 22nd, we have our 5th through 8th graders participating in the Glenn County Spelling Bee. And on the 24th, make sure you mark your calendars for this one. Our ASB is hosting a Halloween carnival that will be in the Elk Creek Elementary cafeteria. It is a fundraiser for ASB. Dinner will be served, lots of games, lots of fun for the kids. So please bring them, let your neighbors know. And then also we have a high school volleyball schedule now because we officially have a varsity girls volleyball team for so not only do we officially have a team, but we have one extra. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. So this, I believe this was posted on Periscope, but I'll double check and make sure it's out there for everybody to know. Their first game will be Saturday, the 11th, October 11th, in San Rafael at Marin Christian Academy. Yeah, everyone's got to drive. It starts at 1 in the afternoon. They're departing at 9:15, so I think San Rafael's kind of a drive.
Yeah. Can we take the bus?
But on Monday, the 13th, it's a home game. We're playing her long. At
That's
4
the
o'clock.
13th.
The 13th, yeah, it's a home game, 4 o'clock in the gym. And on the 14th, oh boy, these are back-to-back games for these girls. We're playing Paradise Adventist here at home. And that's at 5:30.
Okay, so the 13th is at 4.
13th is at 4 o'clock, 14th is at 5:30. Both of those are home games.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's right, 2 away and then 3 home. Yeah. Yes. So we're all very excited. We ordered new jerseys. So the girls helped picking out the design on those. So they're all thrilled and it's going to be great. So make sure you come to those home games and cheer on the Elks. So good.
In our elk shirts.
Yes, in your elk shirts. Absolutely. Okay. I told you I had.
I did have one thing to add. It doesn't really fit under my board member report. It's more of me as a public comment report, but I'll just throw it out there. The Clay Target team has 7 members shooting this year. We've done a rain and safety day, and we had our first practice competition on Saturday. So we're shooting out at West Hills with both the Orland and the Willows team. So it's been really good. A couple of the kids have never shot before. They've never handled a gun before. So we've done all the safety stuff. They're borrowing guns from Orland. They were a little too big for them last week. So we're going to kind of switch it up and make sure we can find guns that they like and they can handle. And the Parent Teacher Club, Booster Club initiative that I'm working on, I've been talking to Miss Walters. She was the one that was on the bank account last. So trying to figure out with her exactly how we move forward. But I do have 14 people that have signed up on the Google form that want to help with fundraisers, as we're getting towards volleyball, snack bar and figuring out how we can do stuff on that. So I'm still I know there's got to be paperwork and bylaws and all that we need to figure out and make sure we're doing it right, but it's coming along. So. Okay. New business. Jump down to item C, 24-25 unaudited actuals. Take it away, Dustin.
So we still have our tax form to go along underneath the report for over 80 pages. So I can sit down, read this formal PowerPoint, but we can always go back. Always back up what you guys work on over here. So the PowerPoint itself, again, this is last year closing the books. So it goes to June 30th of 2025. Once the board approves it, then it's sent to the state and the state reviews it as well. If you flip to that very first one, the comparison. So second interim was back from March, April, the last school year. Is when we looked at, the last time we really looked at the 24-25 year. And then we finally closed the books this recently on that 24-25 year, and that's all the bills came in. Everything that was due is all paid off in that fiscal year. You know, sometimes the bills we don't receive until quite a bit later, unfortunately. The beginning fund balance that you see in there is from the audited actuals from the previous year. Starting off with 24-25 with the 2.3 million, so obviously that number's going to be the same. The LCFF revenue between the two nominal difference, you're talking about $6,000 or so difference. So we didn't have the P2 numbers at second interim, so that's what we get funded off of. But again, it's a combination of your P2 numbers from your current year you're in, the 24-25 year, or the previous fiscal year, or an average of the three previous fiscal years. So you need to have that number to figure into the calculation, which we didn't have at the time. So it was off about $6,000. It's pretty close. On the federal side, a significant difference. We're talking about projecting revenues of a little over $1 million and really only $878,000 coming in. And the two big reasons for that. One of those being CSI. So CSI, this is the last year of CSI that we're receiving money for being in comprehensive school improvement. The district has come out of that and no longer qualifies for that, but we still have multiple years to spend that. And when you have multiple years to spend it and the type of grant that it is, you don't recognize that revenue until you actually spend it. And so $94,000 that could have been spent in the 24-25 year is actually going to be spent in the 25-26 year. And most of that has already been spent up to this point. So that will be spent. Another thing on the federal side, unfortunately, the forest reserve funds didn't come through at the amount that we thought they were. And so they were discounted quite a bit. In fact, it was $40,000 less what we normally would get. But that has been reenacted. And I've been told that we are going to be paid back for that missing amount that we won't pay in this last year. So that's good news.
Is there a timeline on when we get that repaid?
So in September, they're actually going to be, so we're almost done with September. So yeah, so it won't be probably until the spring. So it'll take some time for that. Another thing there, with the impact aid was up $27,000 from what we had originally budgeted, which is great. Again, that's dependent upon the amount of students that we have that come to the district from the reservation, because we don't collect property taxes on these students. And so there's like a reimbursement almost process for that from the federal side.
Is that the impact aid?
Impact aid, correct. And then the titles. So we got a significant amount of title money that more than covered our instructional aids. And so I have set aside some of that money to help with this year, because you can move it ahead when it comes to that. So you have 24 months to expend it, actually 20 to expend it. But so that's going to help with having a teacher on special assignment that we have this year. So that'll help fund that position, which will help the budget for this coming year. And so Title I, thing with CSI, you know, recognize those funds is actually spent. But it's just really neat. On the state side, quite a little bit of a difference on there. One of the biggest things being ELOP. So there was hope that we were going to get the initial amount of $100,000 for ELOP. There was talks, kind of went back and forth, so eventually got knocked down to $50,000. So we're going to get the minimum amount of $50,000 for ELOP. That'd be the Expanded Learning Opportunity Program for the additional 30 days. And $50,000 is more than enough to cover that. So it's not too big of a concern. It was just kind of the hope that we were going to receive that money and just didn't come in. That doesn't impact the regular budget really whatsoever. And we have been carrying those funds over. You have 2 years to expend those ELOP funds. So you get it in the 1 year, you have that year, and then 1 more year to expend it. And so we have expended all the funds that we needed to this point, as far as the 23-24 funds had to be expended by June 30th of 24-25 and they weren't. So we're trying not to send any money back to the state. they've already given us. It's just that sometimes your hands are tied when it comes to the actual spending of those funds and making sure that they're appropriate. On the local side, very good news, almost $80,000 more in local revenue. The biggest thing there being interest. Interest was, in the past, has been less than 1% that we get at the Department of Finance. It was well over 1%, this last year, which was $83,000 more in interest than we anticipated, which is fantastic. I don't normally build that into the budget. It's just kind of a good thing to kind of go over historical averages. Historically, we've never seen this high of an interest rate, so I'm not obviously putting that in the budget to receive that every year, but that was a good thing that came in during the 2025 meeting. So the revenues overall, you'll notice down about $140,000, but expenditures down too. And again, matching revenues to expenditures, CSI was in the budget, $94,000 less was expended in that year, so that got moved into the 25-26 year. The title money that I just talked about, that's about $25,000. So the revenue moved and the expenditures moved into the next year as well. So that explains some of that reduction in expenditures. Transfers out. So the transfer out actually that we only have at this point in time was to support the cafeteria. And so we've always had to make a contribution into the cafeteria just because we don't reach economies of scale being so small and the amount of students. You have to have a staff person on there. You have to have someone that cooks the food. You have to buy the food, all those sorts of things. Commodities, we do get an allotment for commodities that helps with that. So that was a $28,000 savings right there, just based off of reimbursements that came in for the cafeteria were up a little bit, which was great. But the cost of food was just down quite a bit just because of the amount of students that really that were participating. When it comes to transfers in, 15,096 was in the budget, only 14,580. That actually is the money transferred from our Fund 20 for retirees back into Fund 1 to help cover their insurance costs. So, that's just what it is.
And didn't you say that's going away eventually?
When they age out, yes,
Yeah.
it does.
We know who that is.
So if you notice the negative number of the 190, actually is in actuality was $168,000. So there was a good little bit of savings there. As far as what we had originally anticipated. And then of that $168,000, really only $125,000 of that was unrestricted. So because this is a melding of both restricted and unrestricted funds, it's important to kind of look at what side of that is restricted, what side of that is unrestricted and ongoing. And so about $125,000 in unrestricted deficit spending. If you go to the next slide there, the multi-year projections, the 25-26 and 26-27 are not updated. They're from budget time, so back in June. So those numbers are just brought across with the new balances that are put into place to kind of show you what fund balance looks like in 26-27 when you put that through. And even with projected deficit spending and not having updated 25-26 projections, not only on the revenue side, but on the expense side, because a position, the teaching position was not filled in 25-26, that this does not have at this point in time, as well as some other expenditures and revenues. So this does not accurately show 25-26 anymore, just because changes, right? We have changes all the time. So first interim is going to go through October 31st. So after that, we'll do an update to the budget. And then in December, you'll have the new updated projections for 25-26 and the effect that will have. I think it will have a positive impact. Obviously, not filling a teaching position, considering staffing is basically the highest cost of the district, right? So scale on it. But again, even with these high expenditure numbers that are in here, we're still looking at a healthy $1.4 million in fund balance.
And what enrollment is this based on?
Again, that's true. So this is based off of the enrollment projections back from budget time, which were more like 62.
And we're at 52.
52, but again, still being within the funding bands that we currently are still in. We'd still be in those bands unless something changed at the high school, possibly with positive. So we're right now at enrollment of 22 students at the high school. if that's changed recently.
That's what I was gonna ask. I thought was the band at the high school night.
19.5 ADA. So,
So if we had 22 and this miraculously high,
so not trying to count our chickens, but if you average 89% attendance with 22 students, you would meet 19.5 ADA. And you're currently at 96%.
96%. We're gonna
So-
keep it there.
And that's what the high school too.
Yeah, that's
The high
district
school's
wide.
doing well.
Yeah, the high school's doing really good.
Good.
Yeah.
Continue that would be fantastic.
because we weren't anywhere close to a different band in elementary,
We have
right? But
been,
we're,
a couple
like-
years ago, we were right on the cusp. Less than one ADA away from that next funding band. That really would have been bad. Would have been over $150,000 to the district, not only in that year, but in ongoing years as well, because you'll get that benefit of current year, prior year, and average of those years. So,
When is the next, because it's in October, right, where we, like, there's a day and that's what they.
right, so there's two different factors that come into play when it comes to LCFF funding. One of those is called Seabeds Day. So that's the first Wednesday in October, which is October 1st. this year. And so with that, you lock in your unduplicated percentage. And so your duplicated percentage is the number of students that are either low income, foster youth, English language learners. We don't have English language learners, but we do have foster youth and we do have homeless and we do have low income. And so you lock in that percentage. And when you lock in that percentage in October, that's also a 3-year average. That goes into that. But having that, it's not based on the number of students, it's based on the number of students that qualify within that. So it's just a percentage and not an actual whole number per se. And so when you lock that in, then you don't have to worry about going up or down when it comes to the enrollment. Then it becomes ADA. And ADA is based off of the last full month before April 15th. So April 15th is that cutoff date to lock in what your ADA funding will be for that particular year. And then that will play into the averages of, is it higher, is it lower than the previous year? Are you using an average of the last 3 years based off of what we received that year? So there's two different things going on at the same time.
gotta keep them motivated.
Yeah, March 15th to April 15th. 7 March, every day.
Sorry, any other questions on Phillips? No, the backside of the last, the other funds, we still, as mentioned it earlier, Fund 20, there's still plenty of money in Fund 20 to cover the remaining amount for the last person that qualifies currently. Right now, we don't have anybody yet that will qualify in the near future to receive that benefit anytime soon. But it's just something to be aware of when we do get someone, possibly get someone close to receiving these benefits. This is based off of calculation, years of service with the district and how much sick leave they have accumulated at that time. In Fund 40, that's at $102,000 committed to capital projects, so there's still some money there in Fund 40. A lot of that money was still related to the solar project. And so we're in the process of working with the vendors that you guys approved a couple months ago to get us signed up to get that tax credit, even though it's funny that you call it tax credit when we don't pay the taxes, we still get credit for it. And so we're in the process of doing that. And so hopefully that will be a significant help to the district as well. But we won't know that one until probably the end of this fiscal year. So, and then, yeah,
Sorry to
go
interrupt.
ahead.
With the fund balance or ending fund balance, can you remind us what the state requirement is for?
Yeah, so
Like for us to.
Sure. So, we actually don't have the criteria standards that we do in this particular one, but it is normally 3% or the higher amount is because you're a smaller district. And so, is this one for this one has that balance. We've been well over 20% and 25% when it comes to fund balance, when 10% would be good. But I would say 15% for being such a small district would be great for this district, just because we're talking about smaller numbers and being able to sustain, if a bus goes completely out and you're gonna have to replace that, could the district do that?
So what's the actual requirement that we have?
It would be 3% or higher than percentage of the expenditures, I don't have that one in front of me, I'm sorry, I need to do that
It's okay.
later.
So roughly 3% of
Roughly 3% of expenditures.
3%, 3 million.
So if you look at your total expenditures there. 3% of it.
A whopping 100,000.
Right.
Okay.
And so I've always had in reserves, you can actually see in your tax forms of $100,000 in economic uncertainty is what they like to call it. And so that's always been the reserve. You have honestly been had well more, way more than that.
And you recommend closer to like,
I'd say 15% for a district this size. And it's dependent upon the district itself, what kind of inflows and outflows the district has. Being small, obviously, you're gonna need a higher fund balance just because.
Cash.
Just have that, so. Yeah, works.
Any questions? Any community public comment? So this corresponds with the SACS forms, right, Misty?
It does, yeah.
That's not a separate
And
item.
so, yeah, if you look at the actual tax forms themselves, there is like a cover page that kind of goes over the main topics, I guess you'd say, of what's going on. You have what we call the CEA form, the percent current cost of education expended for classroom compensation. And so there's a minimum amount that you need to spend on your teachers and your instructional aides. But when you're so small, you can be exempt from that. So the district is exempt from that calculation. Because normally it'd be 60% for elementary and 55% for unified, 50 for just high school districts. So we're at 45%. But again, that because the district's so small, it's exempt from that calculation because you still have to have a person in the cafeteria. You still have to have custodial. You still have to have these other positions that, again, economies of scale. You don't have economies of scale. So that's why you're exempt from that calculation. And then it's ESMOE or SMOE. Every student succeeds acts maintenance of effort. So you have to spend a certain amount of money on your students specifically when it comes to it's a goal and function code, not to get too technical when it comes to accounting, but basically that you're spending about the same amount on the students as you did last year per capita. And then if there's any kind of deficiency, it would tell you if you're percentage below or above or below it, and there isn't one. And then the GAN is actually the next item on the agenda, so I'll talk about that. And then the ICR, that's the preliminary proposed indirect cost rate. So that's a rate that we could charge like grants if we wanted to for kind of the overhead to delineate the grant, basically for the accounting or payroll has to go along with, doling out those funds. And we don't use that. Other districts use it a lot for different programs at county level. We use it a ton because there's a lot of overhead that comes with our county office. But the district being so small, that means there's going to be less money going towards that grant if we use that rate. Whereas this district can just use it all itself.
Yeah, because the cap is going to be the same on grants.
And no, it actually varies between grants.
Well, no, on a grant, whether you choose to use the indirect or
Where you
not.
choose to
you
use
would
it or
either
not, yes.
pull it out or push it all towards the program.
Right, and instead you just use it all towards whatever the grant is or the program is, instead of charging some indirect costs on top of it, some overhead fee for it. And then on the backside is just signature, and then the table of contents. The table of contents, it shows every kind of fund that there is in school business, but anytime there's a letter by it, a G basically, or an S, that means that there's data for the district in that specific fund. And they call them forms or funds. And so for us, you'll see Fund 1, the general fund. Then you've got Fund 13 for the cafeteria. You've got Fund 17. I don't talk about Fund 17 because that's been spent down. That's not Fund 17. So that's why I don't really touch on it. Fund 20 for post-employment benefits. Fund 40 for capital outlay projects. And those are the 5 funds that the district currently has. And then it gets into the actual form as well as attendance and any kind of categoricals like your titles, which was a rehash of basically everything that happened in the 24-25 year financials.
Any other questions or comments? Item B, whatever we're on. C. If not, it is an action item to approve the unaudited actuals portion of this for the 24-25 year.
I make a motion to accept the unaudited actuals as presented by Dusty.
Second.
Motion by Diana and second by Crystal to approve unaudited actuals as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, the GAN limit resolution for 24-25.
So you have this, we need to put in the numbers actually for the resolution for this year in this form itself, but in the SACS forms themselves, it's the third item on the cover sheet on the facts. Basically, it comes from 1979 and it's a law to help limit government spending year over year so that your entity, your government entity is not spending an exorbitant amount from one year to the next. And if there's too much, then it will actually kick out a number from your SACS forms and you actually have to call the state and explain to them why you're expending so much more than you did in the previous year in specific categories. That's never happened that I'm aware of, and I've never had issue, but it's still the law and you still need to have a resolution every year regarding that year over year spending.
Okay. So does that, so the number that's on this page one of the SACS forms, 703,855.
Correct.
So we couldn't, that's saying that our total expenses couldn't be more than 703,000 more than they were last year?
It's a calculation that's done. I haven't actually looked closely as far as what that percentage is, because if there's a GAN form that's in here. And I won't get too.
No, that's.
But yeah, it takes into consideration the specific expenditures and the way that you code it in the system. And so depending on what account stream that was used, so that you put it in there, it will categorize it in a certain column. And if it's categorized in a, like not for student instruction, then it'll get placed over to another category and then we'll compare it to the previous year to see how much more or less are you doing from that previous year in those non-instructional categories. Simpler way of putting it, I guess. But it's not like I have to do the calculation, the system does it itself, just based on how we code everything in our expenditures. And so, like I said, if it did kick out a number, then it would be news to me, and then I'd have to research it more. Like, okay, what does that even mean? Like, what would the process be if it does say we're going over that amount, and do we need to, give back some of this money back to the state because we've overexpended? I don't know. I've never seen it actually kick out a number. So
We're within where we're.
yes, you're within the natural
Within the
band
magic number.
of your expenditure, which is a good thing.
So we'll just wait until that box turns red.
Yeah, and then
We don't want it to.
Yeah.
then I have to put my name on there, and I call the state.
They'll ask us, do we know Dusty? And it's like, I don't know.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve adopting the GAN limit resolution for 24-25.
And it looks like we have to do like,
Fill in the blanks.
yeah.
Yeah. So we'll get a clean copy of this signed after the meeting.
I make a motion to accept the GAN limit.
Second that.
Motion by Diana and second by Crystal to approve the 24-25 GAN limit. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we will return to new business item 11A, consideration of filling the executive assistant to the superintendent position.
Do you want to get backwards or should I?
Well, this position was approved by the board late last year, filled in January. Ms. Dom has resigned. We are sad to see her go. And there's been some concerns with the board and the public about the budget and the position. So we thought it most appropriate to put it as a new business item so that we could have this discussion and take input and decide how we want to go. It is budgeted. It's in the current budget and it's in the 25-26 budget to have that position filled. So that's why we, yes, review the budget now.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Well, our district, it's safe to say we're on a solid path forward. And we've made meaningful progress and our families are taking notice. But to maintain this momentum and avoid stalling our growth, we have to address a critical gap. Our families love the heart of Stony Creek. I have families coming to my office telling me how much their children love to come to school at our schools. But they've also been very clear. If we cannot provide the extracurricular opportunities and athletics their children need, they'll leave. This challenge isn't new to our district. For decades, we've seen families exit our system between elementary and high school because we haven't yet built the programs that inspire them to stay with us. To change that, to grow enrollment and build long-term sustainability, we must expand our offerings and show our families that Stony Creek is where their children can thrive academically, socially, and athletically. That cannot happen without the executive assistant position. It's not a luxury, it's a necessity. This role is not clerical help. It's a strategic function that supports every corner of our district. It enables leadership to operate efficiently, to focus on high impact initiatives, and deliver the kind of excellence that attracts and retains our families. Without this position, we limit our ability to grow. With it, we lay the foundation for the next phase of Stony Creek's success. Writing and managing grants that bring in funding for athletics, extracurriculars, and facilities. For example, the K-12 Strong Workforce Grant that we are currently working on. It could bring $250,000 into our district. Leading communications and branding efforts, including website updates, newsletters, ad campaigns, and district-wide messaging that attracts families. Organizing community events like Goodies with Grants to involve our community and build school spirit and connectedness with our communities. Coordinating board meetings, preparing agendas, policies, compliance documents, so that we remain legally protected and operationally sound. Managing public records requests, ensuring we remain transparent and compliant with California state law. Updating office procedures and protocols to increase efficiency and provide clear communication so that we can do more for our students with the resources that we already have. And providing consistent office coverage, which allows all staff to take breaks while ensuring that families always reach a live person in our office, building trust and credibility and connection between the families in the district. Let me be clear, this position is not a routine desk job. The executive assistant is already working an average of 50 hours per week, ensuring that every deadline is met, every regulation is followed, and every opportunity is seized. That level of commitment demonstrates exactly how essential this position is to the growth and the sustainability of our district. From a fiscal standpoint, this role has already been budgeted for in the current year. We're not asking for new or additional funds. We're affirming an existing investment, one that the board has already approved and one that directly supports our ability to deliver on our mission. Without this role, we cannot run the campaigns, secure the grants, or create the programs that will keep families in Stony Creek and bring new families to us. With it, we have the infrastructure to expand athletics, build extracurricular opportunities, and strengthen the culture that inspires families to stay. If we want to grow enrollment and build a sustainable future, we must first invest in the staffing that makes it possible. The executive assistant position is not an extra, it's the foundation for the next phase of Stony Creek's success. Thanks.
Well, one comment I have is when we approved this position back in, what did you say, January? Is that when we approved it?
January 21st.
That was based on an enrollment of 62. We are now down 10 from that, although our attendance is good. I did ask Dusty if this position was not filled for the rest of the year, it'd be give or take around $75,000 savings. And I've not seen any new grants. And even though the enrollment has come up some, we're not anywhere near the 62. So personally, I think we need to hold off on filling this position.
What, so you had said that something for grants is in progress. Are there other ones that we're currently trying, like in progress?
Yeah, we have a list of grants we're working on, but the K-12 SWP grant is the one that's due the soonest, mid-October. And that one's up to $250,000.
Is that restricted funds for something? What is
It's,
it?
I mean, grants are, there's always rules around grants and what they can be spent on. So SWP stands for Strong Workforce. So it's like CTIC that we use for our ag programs and workforce training, but it can go all the way down to kindergarten. So while CTIC is for our high school,
Mhm.
we can utilize it all the way down into our lower elementary kids.
Okay. And last time when we had opened this position, the conversation was around giving it, what did we say, a year of trial and seeing where we end up at. Like, I don't know, like, because I know 75,000 is a lot of money. And at the same time, if we drop off the position, then we end up losing more than that potentially in grant money. So then I'm like, okay, well, do we allow the rest of this 6-month trial and see where we get from there? And I know like some families moved away, kids moved away. And so like that's unavoidable. I don't necessarily look at that as like we're failing at attendance or enrollment because life happens. But I don't know, part of me optimistically wants to see if this will help, you know. But I do see where you're coming from on like saving the money, but it's like that cost benefit analysis of like, we did budget it, we planned for the year, like seeing it through what's already budgeted, see, and then reevaluate in 6 months and see where we're at and figure out where to go from there. Might be a wise decision.
What do you think, Delina? I agree with Crystal somewhat, like, I think give it a shot, another 6 months and see what happens. Maybe we won't need that in 6 months. Maybe Jill and Emily will be able to work on their own. But I think give it another 6 months. Come one person. Kathy made the cut down. I agree with Kristen. I think we need to just keep moving ahead.
You know, I've thought about this a lot and I've talked to folks in the community. I've talked to Anna, I've talked to Emily, and I'm a budget person and I look at the dollars, but I also look at, if we just scratch it now and we just kill the momentum on all the stuff we're trying, we're not going to be any farther ahead. I think it's worth it to, like we had in the very original discussions, it's worth it to take the risk and the investment and try to build more programs, provide more support, do more grants and publicity and website and events and all these things that we've been talking about that seem to have been working. I mean, there's stuff working to bring in the families and bring in the kids and have people come to events. And if we kill that now, we're just going to go right back downhill where we were. And it's not, the 14 kids that moved away, that has nothing to do with the position. No, it's nothing totally disconnected from the position. So I would also be in favor of continuing on with the position. Public comment.
I was just gonna say that same thing by me being, I'm a volunteer parent and a GPAC member. I try to make all the events that the school has, whereas, and I don't put nobody on the spot, but I only see this gal's position. She's been there. I've seen a couple of you guys at the events. And holding events myself, I know it's hard, cleanup's hard, you're getting extra cook, you're getting that extra, she does a lot, you know what I mean? And I was just gonna ask, is she the one that does the parent square? Is she the one that, does all this stuff to get the social media out to each parent? I mean, I would just say as a parent, I get you're looking at the money, I get that part. But if it's already budgeted for this year, I would keep it and then just kind of see.
like read this thing, but yeah, when I read this, I didn't read it until today, and I was like, but she's leading, you know, like that position is, I feel like it's real important. You know what I mean? Like it's helping. She's probably the extra one that I know when I needed stuff, she's there as a parent and as a GPAC person. Like I get that information. Whereas, you know, maybe Emily's busy or maybe Jill's busy or Jill's watching other students and, you know, like trying to help on the other. I think all these positions are vital. Just saying.
And I know it doesn't, it doesn't directly mean dollars to the district when we have these fun events like goodies with grants. But before my kids were at our district, we were at Kirkwood, and they had an event for everything. And it was amazing. There was Father's Day. They went and found frogs for Father's Day. And and the more events there were, the more parents that came. And then I came, to no one's fault. I came to our district and nobody did anything. And it gets old after a while. You're like, well, gosh, this is not fun for the kids. The kids see the other districts doing stuff. So now that we have the momentum, and yeah, it's not driving dollars. Those goodies with grands are not bringing their checkbook. I mean, maybe they will someday, but it's getting the families involved and having the kids excited to come and show off their school. And I think that means a lot. And so being able to have the support to do that, I think, is critical. Yes.
So I have never held executive position or anything, but like my son has, and I know he needed assistance in helping because like it's so much, like so many hats that you have to wear just to, uphold those kind of positions and burnout is real. So like I think that it's going good right now too. Like I'm in agreement with like asking what she's saying. So it is real and I think it's very important to we have good results going on and just not want to see us lost, after all the hard work. So.
So yes, this would be an action item to consider the continuation of filling the position. And then we would talk, next item would be who that next person could be. So someone want to make a motion of one sort for the filling of or continuation of the position?
Here, I'll move to approve continuing to have the position available.
Thank you. Motion by Crystal and second by Kathy to continue with the executive assistant position. Do you want to have a roll call?
I vote. If you'd like.
We can.
Yes.
Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Roll call vote. Diana,
No.
Crystal,
Yes.
Delana,
Yes.
Rita,
Yes.
Kathy.
Yes.
Thank you. 4-1, motion passes. Item 11B, appointment of executive assistant, the person in the position. We'll talk about that process.
Sure. Yeah, last week we brought an interview committee in and interviewed 7 applicants, eight applicants. We had 36 people apply and brought 8 in for the initial interview. And the hiring committee is proud to recommend Mr. Ryan Friesen for the position of executive assistant to the superintendent. Mr. Friesen brings a unique skill set that will serve our district exceptionally well. With 15 years of experience in labor relations, 7 years in management, and 7 years as a trainer, he has a proven background in organizational leadership, negotiations, compliance, and problem solving. His career has spanned roles as a labor representative, a negotiator, an organizer, and trainer, where he has drafted and managed legal documents, facilitated agreements, and represented organizations in high-stakes situations. Beyond that, his experience in communications, database management, and audio-video production provides valuable technical and outreach skills. Mr. Friesen's breadth of experience, ranging from legal compliance to communications technology, positions him as a strong partner in helping our district streamline operations maintain transparency and expand the programs and opportunities that would keep families in Stony Creek.
Did you say he has video skills and stuff? So like for advertisement and all the things we were talking about doing? That's cool. Cause then we can keep that in-house.
Which saves a lot of money.
Right,
It's very expensive.
right.
Was this candidate made aware that this job could only, I mean, it could end not a for sure type situation or,
Did I tell him it was a 6-month job? Is that what you're asking?
yeah,
No.
basically.
I mean, it isn't an at-will position as a confidential employee.
Any other comments, questions?
But you guys sat in on the panel, right?
I did not, no.
Oh,
I didn't.
you did. Oh, do you have things to add?
I thought this man with his experience with CSEA and just his knowledge, he could be a great support for Emily and guiding her, helping her navigate through things. And he has a real good discernment about him and a quiet strength. And he's very much comfortable in uh, supporting a superintendent.
Has he worked in education at all in that arena before? Okay. Yeah. And then with him having skills in negotiation and experience, does that mean that we would reduce costs of having Doug?
Boy, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Ideally.
Okay. Because then that also offsets the,
Right,
yeah.
Yeah, ideally.
or even just another person to bounce off ideas off of, you know.
Yeah. But if we didn't have to pay for attorneys at every single meeting, then,
Mhm.
it reduced costs there and then it makes that, if we keep things more in-house, it just reduces overall spending.
Mhm.
Which is, addressing our
No, I agree.
concerns there too. So, sounds great. Do we have public comment on it?
Any public comment?
I have a comment. I was asked last week to also be on the committee for the hiring, and we had a lot of good applicants. And I think he probably, he was the one that stuck out the most. And one thing that he did say, which kind of caught my curiosity, he said, the first thing he asked was, how many students? And, mutual school came down, wow, that's like 5 to 6 students per ratio, teacher. That's, thank you so much for that. And I just think, and even in years, and it's been a lot of years since I've been, around the school up here, but, one being 54 and the other one being 46 today. And it's like, and I see this stuff, and it's really, I love it because I see a lot of good things, a lot of things happening where more people come to it, and even I do. So not only have the grandkids or grandkids or anything else, but yeah, I think you made a good choice. So, and I think he's gonna do a lot, with Emily to free her up, be of support, with her, for her, and everything to free her up to do other things. And he had a lot of hats that he could, that he can let off and use it. So I was really impressed. So we had a good choice. Thank you for the choice.
Right, we need a motion to proceed.
I make a motion to proceed to put Ryan Friesen in the position of his executive assistant to help the superintendent.
I second that.
Motion by Kathy, second by Crystal to appoint Ryan Friesen into the executive assistant to the superintendent role. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we did C and D already. We are on to item E, SB 88 compliance. Know that there's a lot of new things with SB 88. So staff will give a report on the current status of SB 88, if there's anything outstanding, anything that we need to work on or support, be a support of.
Yeah, so Senate Bill 88 took effect July 1st, 2025. So I'll give a little bit of background information for everybody, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
It establishes new safety and compliance requirements for school districts that operate or contract for pupil transportation services. The law applies to individuals who drive 40 more hours per school year for school-related transportation, and those drivers must meet updated driver qualifications and vehicles must undergo specific inspection standards. So the requirements for drivers to comply with SB 88, drivers must meet a full set of qualifications, being at least 18 years of age, with the proper California driver's license class, clearing a TB risk assessment, passing a criminal background check with fingerprint clearance, maintaining a clean driving record, no suspensions, revocations, probation, or 2-point violations within the past 3 years, and that's within the DMV full notice program. Submitting to drug and alcohol testing, completing a valid medical examination, which is renewed every 2 years, and receiving initial and ongoing training, including first aid training. So Stony Creek Unified has already taken the steps to ensure readiness. We've consulted with our legal counsel and reached tentative agreements with both CSEA and SCFT, our labor partners, to ensure that our practices align with law and that we're up to date with them on the requirements on our employees. A driver testing pool has been established with Paramex. It's the same company that we use for our bus drivers. It's a separate testing pool to cover the drug and alcohol testing and the medical clearance requirements. And we do not currently have drivers exceeding the 40-hour threshold, but we will. And we'll make sure that those individuals will have fully met the requirements of SB 88 prior to reaching that benchmark. There are also vehicle inspection requirements. 19-point safety inspection has to be performed at a Bureau of Automotive Repair, that's BAR licensed facility. These inspections must be conducted every 50,000 miles or every 12 months, whichever comes first. And although there's some debate about whether school districts operating their own vehicles must follow that same inspection standard as contracted providers, Stony Creek is going to proceed responsibly. We're in the process of contracting with a qualified vendor to complete these inspections and ensure compliance, and are speaking directly with BAR to maintain that compliance on all of our vehicles. Our district continues to work closely with California Highway Patrol and the California Department of Automotive Repair, BAR, again, regarding inspections and testing and compliance for both buses and vans. And again, I want to reaffirm with everybody that the safety of our students and staff is our top priority in this district. And we establish robust compliance systems, partner with state oversight agencies, and proactively align our policies with SB 88, including working collaboratively with our labor partners. So we're committed to meeting those standards of the new law and ensure safe and reliable transportation for all of our students.
So none of that though has been done up to date.
None of
The
what?
Safety training, the 19-point, none of that's been done yet.
We're in progress on that. So we're contracting, like I said, with a BAR. We're working on a contract with a BAR licensed facility. We have already been in contact with BAR, looking for the name right now. Mr. David Dawson, who's the State Bureau of Automotive Repairs Program representative. He actually came up to our office and sat down with us to talk about our vehicles and set up a program to make sure we're maintaining compliance on everything. But before they hit 40 hours, everyone's gonna have everything they need.
So the limits of the compliance is dependent on whether the employees hit that 40-hour limit or
Yes.
not. Okay.
Yes. And there is some debate on that. I've talked with our CHP, Mr. Bowman, who does our DOT compliance. I talked with this BAR, just said his name, can't remember. Sorry, I have too many notes. David Dawson. And I've also talked with the attorney, with Doug, about it.
Okay.
Mr. Pence?
I just say that I know CEA is late for districts and county offices. county officer in a little bit of a different situation because our drivers primarily, special ed, are employed to drive. But, to know, in terms of districts, you guys are not behind any ball in any way, shape, or form. Most districts are gonna push the envelope to the 40 hours. In terms of the inspections, county office, we've been using West Mitsubishi for servicing, and purchasing vehicles, trying to buy vehicles in our county, and they're not certified by the 5R.
Is that the only other place? What is it, Dusty?
J&J.
J&J is the only one that's certified, so, it's gonna. Send Aaron Johnson, she would, report us, it's been a major headache here, so we try to get this done. Obviously, we're still not all our vehicles are in compliance yet to get us that 19-point inspection. I think like one deemed for out the tiny chip in the windshield, it's not fair to any car. So anyway, I just, from a district standpoint, and some of our other smalls are just, just tracking hours to make sure they're legal and are gonna stay legal within that, portion of the legislation, so.
Yeah, because the way I understand it, once you hit that 40 hours, you cannot drive anymore until you complete the
Correct.
safety and all of that. And we've got to be getting close to that with the teacher and Jill.
But we'll be good to go before they hit 40. I promise. Watching it really close.
The other thing is just, you never know when an employee is not gonna pass that physical. We had an employee that was never anticipated, because of a health condition, problem. Obviously, I'm not gonna disclose, but we wouldn't think people walk around with it every day, she's not eligible to qualify. Yeah, she is still eligible underneath the 40 hours, within the legislation, and I checked it out from our attorney. So it's not like all legislation, sometimes it's not, it's gonna hold you.
Yeah, it doesn't make not healthy enough to drive over 40, but before that, not a problem. You can fake while you're driving.
And it's something that, pretend to be without, still has never lost a license for anything. And so, anyway, so it's some tricky legislation.
So we have lots of vehicles. Is this just this more rigorous inspection? That's only on the primary vehicles they drive, or does that throw every vehicle into that pool?
We're gonna put every vehicle in. That's our goal.
Because they could be driving anything.
Yeah.
And you
Exactly, because we swap vans depending on if there's field trips and how many students are going, or if the volleyball team is traveling and they need the 9-passenger. I mean, we swap vehicles all the time, so we're gonna kind of run everything through it. Yep.
All right, any other questions or comments on SB 88 compliance? Now you know more than you ever wanted to know. Oh, sorry, Joe.
Sure, still, it's coming up really close and you're talking now you've got the amount of days, a week or two. But you've got people who have to have all those tests, now that's right.
So is the training something you have to do in person? Is it online? Is it gonna take a while?
There are no requirements as far as the training goes. There's not a number of hours or anything. It's just certain types of training they have to have. It could be in person, on campus.
I thought they had to have the 10 hours of safety training.
Nope, it's not. I checked with the attorney. It does not say 10 hours.
We just had to,
Pardon me?
we just had to qualify as just have this.
Yeah, and there's a list of items that they have to be trained on. Yeah.
And they have
then
to
the
have
first
first
aid.
aid.
And then the first aid. Yeah. They will be fully covered before they hit 40 hours.
Okay.
Thank you.
Item F, district website.
Yeah, this was a question I had sent in to Emily, not realizing that it would be on here, which is fine. I was looking at somebody asking a question. I got on our website and our website is not, it's not good. It's got old stuff on it. And if we want to sell this district, people should be able to go to Stony Creek's website and see all the goodness. But when you're looking, our van and bus route shows one route. And some of the, like at the FFA, I know that we have it on there, but those are we gotta have new officers. They should be on. Do we have new officers in FFA? Because 2 of them are gone. So it's that kind of stuff, and I thought that that was part of the administrative assistant's duties was to keep the website up to date. I feel that also, I believe it's a law with CalPERS that you need to have the salary schedules on there, which I've asked about having that on for a while. I think we need to be clear that Indian Valley is temporarily closed. When you look at it, somebody moving to Stony Ford could look at that website and go, oh, damn, school's just a half a mile down the road from where I'm gonna live. This school's not open. It needs to indicate that it's temporarily closed. I think the teachers' assignments need to be correct. We have Miss Close is teaching a class when she's not, she's an intervention teacher. That's kind of a boost. We have these teachers teaching, and then we have this TOSA here that could be, to me, that's a plus. So those are the things that I was looking at. When you look on at the front page, the board meeting dates are not, they're way out of whack. They're July and August, and I mean, it needs to be updated. That's it.
Okay, would you like me to go through this list? Sure. Okay, I did check with Ed Services from GCOE on what does website compliance look like? What are we legally required to have? So thank you, GCOE Ed Services, for that. Darren is wonderful. So we are in compliance on our website as far as the law goes, and as far as ADA compliance, because there's ADA compliance laws when it comes to district websites, and we're in compliance with that. As far as the administrative assistant updating the website, yes, ideally we'll get there, but unfortunately our website service that we use is School Insights is very cumbersome and difficult to use. I would consider myself an extremely tech savvy person. I'm a Google certified educator, and yet I struggle with School Insights. It's difficult to use, and it takes a long time to make updates or make new pages. So right now, I respectfully disagree that it's not good. I think it looks good. In fact, I've received compliments on the website, but I've gone through your list and double checked. The board meeting dates, times, and locations are up to date through October. The next two meetings I did not put up there because both of the two meetings that we have set for November and December are set on holidays. And so at the October board meeting, the board will need to pick new dates for November and December's meetings. There was 1 minute missing in the 24-25 section. That's been updated. Photographs were updated over summer. That again takes time for photo editing. So those will gradually be added as we get photos that will look great on the website. Salary schedules, I have no problem putting those on there. It's just the time, getting the time to make a new page, but it's from everything I can find, it's not legally required. I would not recommend writing online that Indian Valley is closed because the school site's being used, and that's an important distinction. We don't want to write that it's closed. So I wouldn't recommend that at this time. Update van and bus routes, I can work on that. Teacher assignments are updated. Title IX section, the board just approved the new Title IX policies. So we'll work on getting that page updated. Those were approved last month. Update FFA officer information. Our FFA advisor does most of the work with FFA, and I think they do it mostly on Facebook because that's where the traffic tends to be. And then athletic section, yeah, as time allows, we can get some pictures of shooting sports team and volleyball.
Well, even listed right now, all it has is track.
Sure. Yeah.
So it would be good to have, like you said, we have 7 kids now.
Yeah.
It would be good to highlight those things. 'Cause,
Absolutely.
if they're looking around to see what's going on there, sports is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As time allows, we'll definitely get those pages updated. We tend to focus more of our time and energy on Parent Square, so our parents can make sure they're staying connected, and also on our Facebook page, because that tends to be where we get most of our traffic is through social media.
So I think we've talked about it before, is there a way to add guest users in Parent Square? Like people in the community, so that they're able to get, have more of those up to dates?
Yes.
How would we do that? Is there
Yeah, they can just contact the office and we'll get them all squared away. In fact, we already have guest users on there. I know
Okay.
Kyle's on there, right?
Okay.
And
like to
so,
make sure
yeah.
the board is on it, right? Like for the immediate board stuff, are you on it? Okay.
think all board members are.
Okay,
You are, yes, because you're an emergency contact. So yeah, you're on.
because you could even make a board group
I
for
could.
communications.
Yeah, we have
possibly.
Parent Square is really neat because we have like groups within Parent Square. So like we have a Native Families group. So to remind them of GPAC meetings and board meetings and what have you, in conjunction with our Native American policies and procedures that we worked on. And so, yeah, we have like an FFA group. I think we had a basketball team group or something like that. So yeah, we could absolutely have a board group.
With the website being so difficult to use, should we look into other options for something that's more user friendly?
Yeah, so Parent Square has a website thing and Parent Square feeds it. It's really expensive. I quoted it to the board back when we decided to try Parent Square out. I can get an updated quote, but I think it's pretty spendy.
But is there even other independent options that might just be easier for you, but maybe they cater to, because we have to have certain things in compliances and stuff that it's not like we can just go to Squarespace for,
Yeah.
you know. But if there is an option that makes it way easier, then that way our admin team can do that without taking a million years. So have to figure out pages and all the things.
Sure, yeah, I can check in with maybe some of the other superintendents and see if they have a website builder that they love. It's easy to use and kind of take a poll.
Yeah. And do we have a fund that could come out of like the one that we talked about last time that has like $80,000 something that we have to use?
A different fun.
Did that make it spent, speaking of 80,000?
Okay. Cause yeah, like the easier that we can get the information out and cause it is true. Websites are like the brand image, the everything, and that's a really good resource for the community insurance. So whatever we can do to make that easier is a good idea.
Mr. Vince, does county offer any or have any technical support or anything like that that could help us with the website?
Just went through, doing ours in IT and, there's, you know, additional reasons. I mean, it was cumbersome, both for William Bench for county office to get that. It took a lot longer than that. No. It's been, the trace was.
Okay. I know at Maxwell, I think it's Catapult is the
There's
vendor they use.
I would check with Nicole because I know that before she came on board at UCLA and was at the trade, she preferred that.
It was very easy.
Get on the contract, I think, with the capital. But anyway, there are a couple that are a little more user friendly.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So maybe website could be a for that next meeting for some kind of quotes or other ideas or something. Absolutely. Okay, moving on to item G, CSEA reopener sunshine proposal for 25-26 negotiations.
Okay, so you have a copy of it in your packets.
This one?
Yes, initial proposal from CSEA to CJ's. And then I gave just kind of a little overview, but it basically says the same thing on the agenda. So this is, for our negotiation, they would like to open Article 4, District Rights. CSEA hereby proposes to introduce some adjustments to the current authority framework to potentially involve more input on certain operational decisions. Don't ask me what that is because this is all the information that they've given me. So I'll find out more tomorrow. Article 7 leaves. CSEA hereby proposes to consider enhancements to the existing leave policies and the inclusion of new leave laws. Article 13, salaries, fair and equitable increase to the salary schedule and addition of classified positions to the salary schedule. And then Article 14, employee benefits, an increase to the current health and welfare benefit cap. So this is just information only.
Any comments, questions?
So under Article 13, the CSEA hereby proposes the addition of classified positions to the salary schedule. Are they gonna ask us to have positions that we don't need?
I don't know.
Oh,
I'll know more tomorrow.
okay,
Yeah, this is as much as I know on what they'd like to discuss.
all right.
Yeah. I know, I wish there were more details to
Okay. Okay, that rolls into item H. This is the district's reopener sunshine proposal for CSE negotiations for 25-26. So it's how the union will give us the list of things they want to talk about, and then the district sends back, here's things that we want to talk about.
Yes. So in our response, our initial proposal, we would like to open Article 5, hours of employment. The district proposes to explore a transition to a 4-day instructional week consistent with statutory authority and community interest, while ensuring no negative impact to the wages or benefits of CSE represented employees. Salaries. Of course, district proposes to ensure classified employee salaries reflect fairness and fiscal responsibility within the district's budget. The district further proposes to ensure the bus van driver classification both reflects current duties, responsibilities, and safety needs and enables continuity of service. We would like to open Article 14, employee benefits. That's the health and welfare cap. And then Article 15, safety. The district proposes to enhance student and driver safety through the use of camera and GPS monitoring on district vehicles carrying students.
Don't we already do?
Has to be negotiated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that information only?
This is their function unless it's from both.
So we have to approve it.
Action. Oh, this.
Okay. I move to approve our district's reopener sunshine proposal to the CSEA for the 2025-2026 negotiation.
I'll second it. Motion by Crystal and second by Delana to approve the SCJUSD reopener sunshine proposal to CSEA. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item I, MOU with CSEA, Chapter 215 for emergency van driver coverage.
Okay, so you have an MOU in your packet. This is because we had an incumbent employee leave the van driving position on August 11th, right before school started. We did not have another classified employee to fill that position. And so working with CSEA, we put this MOU together. And so that we could have coverage for that position. This MOU expires on September 30th. Unless we all agree to extend it.
September 30th this year?
Yes. Yeah.
So if there's no change to the MOU, what happens on Tuesday? Is that the 30th?
Yeah.
We'll have that conversation with CSEA tomorrow. We're meeting for next week.
Oh, okay. So that could potentially get extended tomorrow.
It could. I'll talk to them about it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Elena from CSEA is well aware of the whole driver situation.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be discussing with them about the van driver positions that we're flying right now? I mean, is there gonna be
Yeah, that's on the reopener.
of maybe extending the amount of hours so that it would open up a better pool?
Yeah,
Of applicants?
we'll be discussing the van bus driver classifications during negotiations tomorrow. It's on the reopener.
Any other comments, or questions?
It's kind of odd that we're seeing this now. A month later.
Well, this was,
I think it was after the last meeting though, so it was before.
Maybe the last one was the 26th.
When I got it back from CSEA signed, it was after the meeting. That's why. So it has to be signed and then comes to the board for ratification.
All right, this is an action item. So
Okay, I move to approve the MOU with CSCA Chapter 215 for emergency van driver coverage.
second. Motion by Crystal, second by Kathy for this MOU. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item J, MOU with Canopitai Native Wellness, Inc.
Okay, so this one is very exciting. You have a copy of it in your packet, so you can take a look at the MOU. So this is an MOU between Stony Creek Unified and Canopitai Native Wellness Incorporated. This agreement establishes a partnership to support the academic, social, emotional, and cultural well-being of our students. And it outlines the collaboration for referrals, communication, and delivery of culturally responsive services on our school campuses, of course, with appropriate parental guardian consent. And this MOU helps us to ensure compliance with FERPA and HIPAA and provide safeguards for student records. So it makes everything official.
Is this part of the presentation last time, but I thought it was for a grant that we didn't get?
No, you're thinking of community schools. We had talked about it at that time.
Yeah.
We did not receive that.
But that's not.
However, no, we want to continue a closer partnership with Canopitai so that they can assist us in better meeting the needs of our Native students. And so this makes all of that.
Is there a financial aspect to this? Oh, okay. It's just ensuring that all our compliance and everything is.
Will these services be available to all kids or just the Native Americans? All students, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right on. We did have an issue before with previous folks working with them where it was only the Native American kids that got to go, and that kind of upset some of the kids, the other kids that wanted to be involved.
Oh.
So I'm glad that it's all kids.
Any other questions, comments? Kyle, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I don't mind, so I'm glad I want to take the opportunity, to talk about all students. So currently, this would be, if approved tonight, this would be our second MOU with the school. We have an MOU with, the Office of, Lake County Office of Education, one of their junior schools. And so we've been, offering weekly, sessions with students in the school. They're high school age students, but it's with all, both native and non-native students, and it's been really well received. Students really enjoy a lot of the information that we share. A lot of it is rooted in culture, but also things that are relevant to students that they're experiencing around behavior and decision making components of it. So we do like a lot of civic engagement as well. So we do talk about students looking toward understanding how their voice can be used to create change. So that's another aspect that we look to weave in, but also the cultural piece of it. The school district being comprised 70% of Native students. For us, for Canopitai, we're very deeply connected to the community. I myself grew up in Grindstone, went to school in the district, graduated, was a trustee for the district for a little while. And so we have a lot of experience, and then a lot of the Native students recognize our staff as we're very culturally active here in Grindstone and different communities. So a lot of students see us and know us already. So we really have established really good relationships with families and students. And then we're also Western trained. So we have a mental health clinician that's on our staff. She's tribal, and she is a social worker. And so she has a specialty in working in the school setting. So we're looking to bring them in. She's also a certified wellness coach, which is a new initiative throughout the state, where you bring in non-clinical service into the schools. And one of the things that we're hoping to explore with this MOU and being able to be in the schools is partnering with different universities and colleges that are training the next round of wellness coaches to intern with us, because they do have to earn a certain amount of hours in the field. And so us having a relationship with Butte College and even at Chico State looking to bring those interns that want to get hands-on experience working within the school, but also in a very unique setting, which is being in a rural area, working with the tribal population as well. So we are looking to develop that. And then the cost piece of it, we're obviously all of our organization is ran by grants. So we receive a lot of our funding to be able to offer a lot of these services. Just this past Saturday, Gregson, the tribe passed a resolution designating us to offer some specific benefits that are new to Cal-Aim, Medi-Cal, and we are able to weave that into the school as well. So we are able to sustain a lot of our programming through being Medi-Cal approved. So a lot of the service that we're able to offer, not just to students, but their families as well, is what also kind of keeps us to be able to continue our programming and offer what we offer. We're also a Elevate Youth California grant recipient, and we wrote Glenn County as a service area for us, so Branksome, and then also being able to come to the district. So what's really nice about this MOU is we've had a good working relationship with Emily over the past years. But if Emily were to move on to something else, we don't want to have to start all over with trying to convince somebody to trust what we're doing. This codifies a relationship to allow us to continue to maintain the work that we're doing long after a staff or administration changes. So that's why we're really looking forward to getting an MOU and offering our services not only to the students but also the families. And obviously being in the health field, we're HIPAA, we have to be HIPAA compliant, and knowing the school district, they have to be FERPA compliant. So a lot of times when there's opportunity for us to work with families, we're not able to because of those privacy acts. So this MOU kind of will help allow us to have those conversations with what students are needing that are compliant with those privacy laws. But one piece is that we're very mindful of ensuring that families know what services their children are receiving. So we do it with consent of the family first, so that parents are comfortable with what we're offering as far as direct services that we make. So yeah, we're hopeful and getting this approved so that we can continue our relationship. And then we're always looking at how can Canoka leverage our resources to bring into the school district as well. So hiring staff, receiving grant funds to come into the school so that that burden doesn't fall on the district. So, being able just to have maybe a space in the district will be helpful for us. But, we look forward to being able to solve some of the challenges that we want to actively be a part of solving problems, not just talking about to you all to solve, but us being a partner in helping solve challenges and sharing. And you've already heard a lot of the work that we're doing, and you've really enjoyed coming here and being able to offer our support and services. And so, yeah. And then if there are any other questions around it, it is only a 3 year, so we're just kind of like seeing how things work out, and then we can look at renewing it if that was something that the board wanted to do.
You said the Medi-Cal funding, would there be any extra hoops to jump through for the families or the school in order to, make sure the kids have filled out the right paperwork, or they to be eligible in order for you guys to be able to bill for the Medi-Cal?
Yeah, obviously there are requirements that certain families will need through Medi-Cal. They need to be in partnership for some services, and then having other medical coverage. But if because we also have grant funding, so where we can't bill, we would just offer it in-house anyway.
Oh,
So that's what's also beneficial. So where we can bill, we obviously can. And now with the new changes within Medi-Cal, that services like counseling are billable even within the school district. So normally that was you can only bill for it within a facility, but the state has opened it, broadened it, because they realized that students can get these same similar services within the school. So there's a big shift right now within the state and the Medi-Cal structure, which is allowing a lot of these services to be brought into school, which is great because teachers are trained to teach students. And when it comes to behavioral wellness, we have other trained professionals that can support that, so that teachers can focus on what they're to do, what they do best, which is educate students. So we can kind of work collaboratively.
Okay, so then I just want to make sure I'm understanding correctly. So if a student doesn't qualify for the reimbursement, they won't be denied service.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't. And that's really not the main focus of this. Those are just if a student or, as we talk, if the student is identified as something that we can offer that falls within a benefit, we would go through that process, obviously, because we want to sustain our programming. But the main focus isn't to offer medical health benefits. It's really to come into the school and offer cultural classes and support kind of what we're doing already. What we're doing in Lake County, we're not billing for any of those things. It's just focused on bringing in programming for youth. But they're also, with this MOU, it opens the door to allow us to do that if it was something that the school district identified. So,
Or if you identified a kid and worked through the parent.
yeah, for example, if we found out that a family was food insecure, we would then maybe initiate that process of saying, would you like to enroll in a program where we can coordinate services to get you food? If there was a need, there's a new benefit around substance use. So if there's a family member that was needing connections with those types of services, we would see if they are eligible for a benefit, enroll them. But we could also just kind of connect them. So it's connecting them to services that are existing in the community.
And then when it talks about identifying students who may benefit, so then on our side as a district, you would be working out with the parents before they ever get connected. Is that how that works?
It depends. It depends on the needs of the family, whether that comes through initially with initiation from the district or if it comes through initiation from Canoga Tide.
Yeah.
We'll work on that. What would be best for that individual family?
We're not prying for that information. It's just we're prepared if it comes up in a setting. Obviously at these community events when we're boothing as well, those kinds of needs could arise in just a general conversation. And so we're trained, obviously we're listening for those needs and have services connected. So what's really neat is that it's a whole person approach. So it's not just programming, but looking at the needs of students and their families. So if there is a need that's identified, we have connections and we're off because we're Medi-Cal approved, we can connect them to our services, which may help with those needs that they could be identified in conversation.
Preston?
What I was gonna say is, because I feel like this would help me as a Native American parent and my Native American children that attend the school. There's not a lot of help for behavioral health at all. And I'm experiencing this and the county only can offer 1 day a week to come up for my kids' needs. I can't speak for every parent. I can only speak for mine. And so I have 2 children that attend. And so it would be very helpful getting that extra cultural piece for my kids for somebody that they're comfortable with as versus, just the hour or 2 hours that the county can provide. So it would be beneficial to our district to do that. And I'm gonna tell you, want other kids to come here? And if you have that other piece, that's gonna be very helpful because a lot of people that have children on IEPs, our school can't provide those extra help like they need now. And so it would be very beneficial for Canoga Tide to come in and be able to help fill the gaps that the school can't fill. Just as a parent.
Thank you.
Obviously, we're still working into this. How much time what would it look like time-wise?
Yeah, I think that would be good for us to sit down and decide, what would work for the student schedules. And, obviously elementary and high school might look very different.
Okay.
Right now where we're at, it's on a weekly, but it's just for a couple hours during the lunch. There's a little bit more flexibility with that school because it is a community school as to where here it might look differently. So once we get the formally established relationship, we can have that really in-depth conversation of what would it look like for our staff coming in. Would it, so we can have more of those in-depth conversations of what it would actually look like. Because right now we have weaving is something that everyone's kind of really picked up on, even at our community gatherings. A lot of the students, both tribal and non-tribal, really gravitate to that, and so we like to do whatever they're interested in.
Right.
And let the students kind of decide what it would look like. But yeah, just kind of getting a gauge of what the scheduling might look like. We can coordinate that with Evan and teachers as well.
Yeah, I can see that, something really non-intimidating. Have the kids come in and do an activity, and that's when they're really gonna open up and be able to have those conversations.
The beating, any of that.
Yeah, and really,
And We also have 2 youth ambassadors, so they're able to travel with us. And so having peer mentorship is really a strength. So one of our youth ambassadors, they're both one's in the 11th grade and one's a senior. But one of our youth ambassadors, she shares her story of struggling with opioids in junior high school, which is a very powerful story that she shares. And I think it really connects with students to let them know that those are realities that is out there in the real world. And she actually was exposed to it in school. So those are realities that I think our students could come across, and to have a peer there share their story, but how they came out on the other side of that in a positive way by utilizing culture. She talks about getting involved in wrestling and academics, or football and those types of things. So really having youth share with each other, I think is really a strength. And we have 2 of those youth ambassadors on our team that we could bring periodically come and share. Lake County is a little bit of a drive, so they can't come every week, but we would definitely love to bring them out so that youth are engaging with each other in positive ways.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns?
Great idea.
And then just one last note that we forgot to mention. So we work closely with GPAC as well. So we attend the meetings with GPAC. So we coordinate a lot of the things with them. But on the 15th, on Friday, September 26th is the 58th annual California Native American Day at the Capitol in Sacramento. It's going to be from 10 to 2. And it is a statewide event where tribes from all over the state convene in Sacramento and share. There's vendors there, different cultural displays that'll happen, ceremony, dances will be shared there. So that's something that's happening that students may go to. That's really, really exciting. And then also in November is Native American Heritage Month, and we've already set a date. I believe it's for November 6th. Is when we're planning to do an event here in the school district as well. And we'll be there helping coordinate with different partners to bring that together too.
What's the date of the Capitol?
September 26th.
This Friday.
This
Friday.
And so yeah, big event. But thank you all, and yeah, we're looking forward to a partnership and continuing the work that we're doing.
Thank you.
I move to approve the memorandum of understanding with Kanokotai Wellness.
Second.
Motion by Crystal and second by Delana to approve this MOU with Kanokotai Native Wellness. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. You guys are hired. Okay. Item K, weekly sync up meetings with the superintendent. So this is a topic that Emily had brought to the board individually as a way of building communication with the board members, of having weekly sync up meetings. And I know Crystal wanted to talk more about how that could work and the purpose of the meetings and.
Yeah, more to like, I can't commit to doing that every single week. But I really did like the Monday memos and things. And I guess the main concern is that possibility of an accidental serial meeting, or even the appearance of not being above reproach being an issue. But then also ensuring that we're actually all getting the same information, because how something gets relayed to someone, if we both ask similar questions, could be different to how someone else gets. And so like we had already talked about, like if someone emails and she answers a question, then she sends it out to us so we all have the same information. But if we're doing individual contacts, then that's kind of defeating that purpose or that goal. So I wanted to like open that up and talk to see like, okay, what's going to be our best collaborative effort to like ensuring we're staying above reproach, we're not having accidental serial meetings, and that we're also getting all this information. Like where we just come up with what's going to be our best course of action for that.
Well, I had asked the question before you did about, I felt that this could create a serial meeting. And I did a little research, and according to California School Board Association, it recommends that you not hold these type of meetings. That, and if it says an effective governance relies on a board acting as a unified body. And if each one of us are going in, there's just too much of a chance of whatever, say I go in and discuss, not on purpose, by accident, saying, well, then it goes to Crystal, and then it may go on to, Rita. Well, in the course of the conversation, I'm not saying that Emily could do this, but it could happen. Well, I discussed it with the other board members and yada, yada. That creates a serial meeting. And I think that instead of setting up times for everybody to go in and sync with the superintendent, if board members want to go in and talk with Emily, they should, but it shouldn't be organized. I mean, you spend a lot of time in there with her as the president. I believe Kathy, you go in and chat with Emily.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, Delana, I don't. So,
I only do that if I have questions based on what you sent us, which, you know,
man, usually I
But
do that through email.
right, or a phone call. But either way, like, I think when we were doing the Monday memos, it ensured we were all getting the same information, and then we can ask questions from there. But it also gave us regular communication, which I really did like. And I think going back to something similar, even if it's not a weekly thing, if that's too much, every other week or something where we're all getting the same information, and then avoiding that possibility of, issue. Um, sorry.
I too like the Monday, or, and then that way, if also you can let us know what your status is that week, if you're gonna be out of the office or whatever. I think it's a good thing. And then we're all getting the same information. And then from there, if we have questions on that, we as an individual could come back to you. So,
Do you have input, Emily?
I have a lot of it.
Oh,
But,
Okay.
yeah. So nothing beats face-to-face communication in building relationships, in building a team, a culture of teamwork, a culture of trust, a culture of open communication. Nothing compares to a face-to-face conversation. And I cannot tell you how many leadership trainings I have been to where the number one thing they recommend superintendents do is meet weekly one-on-one with their board members. And up until now, that's been something that I've been trying to, manage my schedule. And now with some extra help in the office, I've been able to do that, to get to a place where I can meet weekly with board members. I checked on the legal aspect because I know there are those concerns about serial meetings, and I did talk with Randy Erickson, who is our phone a friend attorney. He's the principal attorney at McDougall, Bomer, Lyon, Foley, and Erickson Law Firm. They need a acronym or something. Is it okay, Rita, if I give you the information he gave me?
Yes, please.
Okay. He's very detailed when you ask him questions. So here's his detail. He says, the district's Board of Trustees is a legislative body subject to the Brown Act. The act requires meetings of the board to be open to the public. A meeting includes any congregation of the majority of the members of a legislative body at the same time and location to hear, discuss, deliberate, or take action on matters within the body's jurisdiction. He gives me the government codes too, but I'll stick those. The Brown Act prohibits a majority of the board, 3 or more in a 5-member board like we have, from communicating with each other outside of an open meeting about district business, whether directly or through intermediaries. This includes serial meetings, that's what you're talking about, where information is shared member to member until a quorum is effectively deliberating outside of a public meeting. However, as indicated in Government Code Section 54952.2B2, the prohibition against serial meetings does not prohibit an employee or official of a local agency, e.g. the superintendent, from meeting or communicating separately with board members outside of a meeting in order to answer questions or provide information regarding a matter that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the local agency, so long as the comments or positions of other board members are not shared. So that last sentence is the crux of the whole argument. So long as comments, positions, or voting decisions are not shared from one board member to another board member, then it's not a serial meeting. Each meeting between a superintendent and a board member is a unique meeting, and it's a time to connect. It's a time to answer questions, address concerns, seek advice. That's what it's for, not to talk about what other board members think of a subject that's within the jurisdiction of the school board. And he said he'd be happy to talk with the board more about it if you have more questions.
And I think when it comes to like out, like there's an issue of all things are lawful, but not all helpful. And in this instance, the appearance of something, the accusation of something, whether it's true or not, can still be an issue. Right? Like, I mean, there's a number of ways that that could go wrong, even from a outside perception, that I think we should be on guard against, because we want to be transparent. We want to be above board. We want to be doing things in a manner that people aren't even going to bring up an accusation. Right? I mean, we're live streaming, so we can have more transparency. We record these things so that there's more transparency, more honesty, more accuracy. Like it, and this could just be a feeling. It feels like if there's all these separate meetings going on, that we're not all actually getting the same information, because I think it's valuable if one person asks a question, we all get the answer, because there's been times that it's like, I wouldn't have thought to ask that, but now that someone else did, I'm really interested in that. And I might have follow-up questions, and I think that actually makes us stronger as a team to have all that same information and like be on the same page at all times versus, oh, well, I talked to so-and-so when we're in a meeting. Well, I talked to her and she said that, well, wait a second, now I'm confused. I had talked to her. She said, now we have this whole little thing of, I said it at this time, she said it at this time, or whatever the case may be, that I think it actually can create more confusion and more chaos than having the round, like, where we're always on the same page with communication.
My opinion is more communication is better than less. And communication has been a hot topic among this board and my communication and communication within the district. And I'm asking for more communication, which is why I offer the board members to a weekly sync up. Now, if you're not available and you can't meet, that's totally understandable to me. I understand having a busy schedule. But that regular communication is really important. Having that level of relationship, I think, is really important for us as a team. And weekly sync ups, a lot of stuff happens in a week. And so a lot of times it's, when we meet, it's ideas of, oh, like what you said with frogs with fathers. Yeah, like that, I never thought. I want to do frogs with fathers, but those types of ideas and brainstorming, which I think is a good collaborative type of relationship to have. More communication is better than less. But again, if you're not available, or maybe you want to meet once a month, or maybe you want to meet every other week, or maybe you want to meet over Zoom, so you don't have to drive to Elk Creek. I mean, that's fine with me too. Whatever works.
In my mind, the perfect world would be both. Would be the detailed Monday memos with the, here's the things going on, here's the days you're at the office, here's all this stuff, plus having the opportunity to then have those more
Personal. Personal.
And I think that it comes down to us kind of policing ourselves of not, well, what did Crystal think about this?
Right.
Or what did, because we are going to be curious if there's, you have to share some type of personnel issue. Oh, well, what do they think? But I think that we just have to be cognizant of that.
Well, I would think
Ourselves.
the sync up, or whatever you want to call it, the meeting would only have to do between myself and her, not other issues. So,
Right, because if those issues are like how you have brought up, that if only certain people are hearing about issues and then we come to a board meeting and now all of a sudden half of us or more were in the dark,
right.
then it's like, what is going on?
Right.
Like it just doesn't seem like that's meeting the goal of really having us
Yeah.
all in the know and a team.
So if she does that once a week thing online, where we're all making that connection together as a group, and then we have our individual time with Emily, I like it. I'm learning. I'm just learning. I'll ask her questions about the brown. I'll ask her things that I don't know and I don't understand. And so for me, I appreciate just being able to learn and to have that time with her.
Well, and I guess, yeah, the personnel thing was a bad example because if there is a personnel update that needs to be given, that would be given the same information to the whole board. But something about, you know, what do you think about this for the parent teacher club or the snack bar or this kind of
Oh, yeah.
fundraiser or just, I guess, what I would call more benign things?
Yeah, just general day-to-day things.
Yeah.
Today was my first meeting with Emily, and I really didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was doing there. But I went in not talking nothing but my grandkids that go to school and their behaviors and stuff. So it was kind of beneficial to me because not only did I not know that my grandson was acting up in school, but his behaviors and stuff like that. And so, but it wasn't nothing to do with the school board or any personal person. It was about my grandsons and their, you know, being at school, their behaviors and stuff. So like, I kind of liked the meeting. I got to know what was going on more in school, and now I think I may have to go and sit in class.
So that just seems to be more of you want to have personal time to get to know us as individual people versus school board related things.
Or that's what I got at. I mean, like I said, it wasn't nothing. We didn't talk about school board stuff. It was just that was our conversation.
So is that your goal then? It's not
My
actually school
goal is
board
to-
related?
My goal is to open the line of communication between myself and the district and each individual school board member. And like we said, we saw a variation, right, of how two different board members use the time in the meeting. One to talk about their grandchild and the services we provide and what's going on there, and what's going on in the classroom, and one to learn more about governance and learn more about what happens in a school on a day-to-day basis.
I think if we still have the regular weekly information that we used to have. And then as you people are able or wanting or whatnot to be able to go in and have personalized meetings.
At each comfort level.
I mean, that monthly thing could trigger emailing back and saying, hey, can you set aside 30 minutes to chat off of that? Instead of trying to come up with a conversation every week,
Right.
Yeah, you certainly don't have to meet with me, and you don't have to meet with me every week. Part of what I'm trying to do is schedule the time, set the time aside, right? Prioritize that time in my calendar so that I can have consistent meetings with those that want to, because my calendar gets crazy and I'm in and out and all over the place and things pop up. And I know it's been a little crazy here at the start, but I'm hoping to be able to get more consistent and have that time set aside for.
Okay.
So then we are still gonna get a weekly email or we are not? I guess is my question, because I don't know what goes on in between the time until I get here. But I don't have the ability to set aside a weekly meeting. And if that's not what it's gonna be about, then I would appreciate email updates.
I think that's your intention, is to get back to those Monday meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, I like them at the beginning of the week. Here's what's going on. And then obviously if something comes up that's pertinent that the board needs to know in between Mondays, hey, this thing happened, that would be full board.
Right.
Everybody gets the same information.
And if it's an emergency, I text you.
All right.
So yes, I also really like Monday the most. So.
Good.
Just, just events, because there is a lot of stuff going on, games and all that. So, yeah. Okay, do we need to take any kind of formal action? So,
Yeah.
Okay, number 12, board requests for future agenda items. If you follow up on the website.
And reports.
You said that the November and December regular meeting dates are on a holiday, so next month we would look at having a different regular meeting date for those. Okay.
So make sure you bring your calendars with you next month.
Anything else we talked about tonight that I forgot? That we might need to have? No. Okay. All right, then with that, we will adjourn open session, returning back into completing closed session. Thank you for coming.